Thank you very much for joining. It's becoming more of a sleep streams than live streams because I'm doing it like always later and later. But these last couple of weeks have been kind of intense, I would say. So I always like have a plenty of work during the day, and then when I get back home, I need to do something here, and then I have time to do the live streams for you. So unfortunately, sorry for that, and I appreciate those of you who are still alive, still awake, and like watching me right now. So thank you very much for that. In the next couple of weeks, I'll try to start the live streams earlier again, so more people can join. But like I'm now seeing that there are still many people joining. So thank you very much, and I'm happy you are not sleeping yet. So today's topic will be about changing employers, because that's something we at Move to Practical Location Experts are getting asked about very often recently. And there are some things which are very important, some rules which are very important and which you need to keep in mind if you don't want to endanger your stay in the Czech Republic under the employee card. So let's jump right into it. The first thing is that there is a difference in this, in the rules, between the standard employee card, so-called dual, and the non-dual employee card. It's a very significant difference, and the rules are also different. So I'll cover that later today as well. And so if you have a standard employee card, so-called dual means that it combines two things. First, permission to live in the Czech Republic and permission to work in the Czech Republic. So two purposes or two things combined together, one dual employee card. Okay, so if you have a standard non-dual dual employee card, then there are a couple of rules you need to keep in mind if you want to change employers. Rule number one is that you cannot change your employer unless you reach 6 months under the first employee card. Meaning that if you just got the employee card through the Czech embassy, you cannot change your employer until you reach 6 months under the same employer. Rule number two is that your new employer cannot be an employment agency. You could have got the first employee card through an agency, but if you get a standard job with no agency, or even through agency, you cannot switch to another agency anymore. The first application can be through an agency, but not anymore. Rule number three is that you only have 60 days once you leave job, or like you are fired or leave, or your contract ends, whatever, then you only have 60 days to find a new employer. If you don't report it to the Ministry of the Interior, then your employee card will be canceled and you will need to leave the Czech Republic and you will have to start over from the beginning. Rule number four is that you need to report the change of employer to the Ministry of the Interior at least 30 days in advance. That means that if you want to start working on the 1st of April, the ministry needs to receive the information about you intending to change the employer latest 1st of March. Okay, so those were the most important rules. Maybe one extra rule to keep in mind is that you will need documents from your old or current employer and from your new employer as well. And unfortunately, like obviously from the new employer, that's clear and not a problem with that. But sometimes, and especially in some fields like hospitality, it can be very difficult to get some documents from your old employer or current employer, because those employer kind of keep people as how to say, I cannot remember the word in English, but they just don't have any rights, and they keep your passport and they don't give you any original documents of your employment contract or anything like that, or termination contract. You just never see the original documents. Slaves, that's the correct word. Not funny word, but unfortunately many people are treated like that still, many foreign employees. So make sure when you join in a company that they give you the original employment contract, that they don't keep your passport, and that everything you should have, like all the paperwork they have, you have as well. Because I've seen this many times, that people come to us and say, yeah, but I don't have the employment contract, my employer keeps it. Or I don't have a passport, my employer keeps it. Like, damn, what should we do now? Like, so make sure that you always keep those important documents with you. If not, then it's a sign that you should not stick with the employer for too long, because it's also very difficult to do something to make the change of employer, for example, if you don't have your passport, or if you don't have the employment contract, or if your employer is not willing to sign any termination contract or anything like that, because those are documents you will need for the change, and if you don't have them, then you might never change the employer, which is probably the reasons why they do that, to keep you, so you really work like slave for them and you cannot leave. But don't let this be done to you, because there is law you can force, and this is not how employers should behave. So if you experience this, get in touch and we'll be happy to help, because this is not how it should be done. Okay, so those were the rules for the change of employer under the standard employee card. Let's see who we have here. Grace. Thank you very much for joining, Grace, and for sending all the likes and everything. Hanging employee, ahoj, dobré ráno, dobré ráno. Hey cousin, this is Matthew Lemay, Marseille. Okay. Congratulations, thank you. Thank you, Grace. Anyway, let's go now to the second part of it, and that's changing employer under the non-dual employee card. We get asked about that often as well, and the problem there is that there is nothing really written about this in the law. Neither of those, like neither immigration nor the labor code. So technically, there is no limitation in changing employers when you are under the non-dual employee card. Non-dual employee card means that for some reason you have a free access to the labor market. So the employee card does not combine the two things, like permission to live in the Czech Republic and permission to work. It only has the one purpose, and that's a permission to live in the Czech Republic, because you don't need a permission to work, because you have a free access to the labor market. So that usually happens if you are a current student, or if you finished your studies in the Czech Republic and you're holding a Czech diploma, university usually. In that case, you have a free access to the labor market and you can work freely. Then there is also no official limitation in how long you can, for example, be unemployed, because under the standard employee card, you can only be without the job for 60 days. Otherwise, the ministry can cancel your employee card. This rule doesn't really apply in case of the non-dual employee card, but we still recommend sticking to it. Just follow the rules as for the normal employee card, because it's better to be safe than sorry. Generally, for the non-dual employee card, if I should say some rule, I would say that you should not be unemployed for longer than half of the time, because obviously if you're unemployed for more time than you're employed, then you're not fulfilling the purpose of your stay, which is employment, and the ministry will probably not cancel your employee card right away, but they might not extend it, because it will be easy to deny the application, saying, hey, you say that you are working in the Czech Republic, that's why you have an employee card, but you're not working most of the time, so there is no reason for us to extend your stay. So that's the risk. And it's also risky to lose internet on Facebook. So guys on YouTube, sorry. Okay, I'm back on Facebook as well. Yeah, so even though this would be the general rule, stay employed more than a half of the time, I strongly recommend sticking to the rule for a standard employee card, meaning that you should not be unemployed for longer than 60 days. And then also keep in mind that even though you have a free access to the labor market, you still need to report the change to the Ministry of the Interior latest within 3 days. So end of employment, latest within 3 days, and start of the new employment, also latest within 3 days. So those were the rules that apply to both the standard employee card and the non-dual employee card. And now it's time for your questions. We might have some from Ray Araneta. So I still have 60 days to stay here after the end of my working visa to look for another job, for example. Now, that's a different thing. You have 60 days to find a new job after you finish the previous one. So if you get the employee card for 2 years, But after 1 year, you decide to leave the job, and you leave the job and your employee card is still valid, then you have 60 days to find a new job and report it to the labor office. If you for example got employment contract only for 2 years or for 1 year, and then your employee card has the same validity, so 2 years or 1 year, and it's coming to an end, then you should definitely extend the validity of the employee card as well. Either ideally under the same employer, because that's always the easiest way to do it, but you can also do it with a new job, and you would be basically having two applications at the same time. One would be for extension of the current employee card, and one would be for the change of employer. So I didn't mean it the way that after your employee card expires, you have 60 days to find a new job. Technically, yes, but in real life, you would not have a right to stay in the Czech Republic because your residence permit would be expired. So yeah, it's like that. You have 60 days to find a new employer if your employee card is still valid. Once your employee card is expiring, you need to extend it either under the same employer or while switching an employer. If you don't do that and the employee card expires, then you will need to leave the Czech Republic. Let me know if the answer was clear enough. And I can see that there are 10 people or 11, 12 people were watching. So that's great because it's midnight. It's technically Tuesday. And I'm still doing this Monday live stream. So thank you very much for joining, guys. And please, if you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, this would be the shortest live stream I ever did, I believe, because it's only 12 minutes. Ray, thank you very much for the answer, Suryan. My pleasure. I'm happy to help. So if something wasn't clear, for example, please feel free to elaborate, and I'll be happy to elaborate as well. Let's see. I don't think I have any other questions on YouTube. So guys, if you have any, let me know. Hey, Hit Morad. Hey, actually, I'm currently working with dual employee card. I started this job in 1st October 2021, and I got my plastic card 16 February 2022. But I got another job offer, so can I change employer or not? Well, generally, no. If you got the employee card 16th of February, then that's like a month ago, not even a month ago. So unfortunately, you cannot change the employer because you need to stick with the first employer for at least 6 months. There are some exceptions, but those are mainly for health reasons. For example, if you were working in a warehouse and then you did something, you hurt your back and you can no longer like move the boxes and everything or whatever you do, then yes, then you could end the employment contract, and then you could find a new job in a different field. But besides that, it would be kind of complicated to change employer before you reach 6 months. So from the moment when you get the employee card, 6 months, you most likely need to stay with the same employer. So in your case, that would be till 16th August 22. So you can realistically change the job in September this year. Rovena Casino, thank you, Jan. Hi, Rovena, nice to see you. Hopefully your process will be done shortly. I've been in touch with your husband, so hopefully this will be all resolved soon. Okay, guys, some more questions? Because if not, this would really be my shortest live stream, I believe. I always try to keep it short. Today I didn't really have much to talk about. The change of employer is not that complicated, or the rules are not that complicated. So I thought I would have it done in 5 minutes, and I was still talking about it for 10, and now 5 minutes answering your questions. So please keep it coming. Hit Morat, thank you for your suggestion. You're welcome. This was changed. This is recent. This is kind of a recent thing, and that was introduced, or it was put into the law because of employers. Because what was happening was that employers sponsored someone for the employee card, and then the person, as soon as they got the employee card and moved to the Czech Republic, they found a new job and moved somewhere else. So this is kind of a protection of employers. So that's a kind of a recent thing in the law, and that's how it is. Yeah. Bangurs Bangurs. Thank you for joining. Thank you for the question. Hello, is it possible to transfer from Poland to Czech Republic? Holding work permit in Poland valid for 1 year. Well, it is, but then it depends what's on your nationality and what type of residence permit are you holding in Poland, because generally you have to apply for any type of long-term visa or long-term residence permit through a Czech embassy, and generally only through a Czech embassy in the country of your origin or in the country where you hold a long-term or permanent residence permit. So if you're, let's say, you're an Indian, you can only apply for the employee card in India at the Czech embassy in New Delhi. But if you're Indian, for example, and you live in Poland and you have a long-term residence permit there or permanent residence permit there, you can either apply in India or in Poland at the Czech embassy in Warsaw. But that only applies to long-term residence permits and permanent residence permits. That means the residence cards. If you're an Indian living in Poland, but only under the long-term visa, which is a sticker in your passport, so you don't have a plastic biometric card, but just a sticker in your passport, then unfortunately you cannot apply at the Czech embassy in Poland, but you would need to apply through the Czech embassy in India, which this exact case would be very unrealistic because applying for anything in India is very complicated nowadays. But just to give you an idea, so if you're depending on your nationality and depending on the residence permit you have in Poland, you can either do it kind of easily in Poland or a bit less easily in the country of your origin. Okay, guys, any more questions from YouTube or from Facebook? If not, I'll be going to sleep soon because it's, what's the time? 0:18, midnight and 18 minutes in the Czech Republic. Yeah, so guys, thank you very much for joining me. As you know, I do live streams every Monday and Thursday. Always, I'm live on Facebook and on YouTube. Then I also keep recordings there. But then I also make shorter videos and I post them on my TikTok or Instagram. So if you don't follow me on those platforms and you're there, please follow me there as well, because I do a slightly different type of content there. So you might get something different than here on YouTube or Facebook. Ray, if we have indefinite contract, how long it for me to apply for residence? Well, indefinite contract, the maximum validity, for example, or if you're applying for an employee card or for a blue card, the maximum validity of the employee card or a blue card are 2 years. But that can be shortened based on your employment contract. So if you only have employment contract for 1 year, then your employee card or blue card will only be valid for 1 year. If you have, on the other hand, if you have the employment contract for unlimited period, the maximum validity of the card is anyways 2 years. So the maximum validity of the employee card or blue card you will be getting is 2 years, regardless of the unlimited contract. But then after the 2 years, if you keep the same job, you can keep extending the employee card or blue card forever, basically. And then once you reach 5 years of the residency, so that would be usually like the first employee card, then another extension and another extension. So totally like you would be running for 6 years. But after 5 years of living continuously in the Czech Republic, you can apply for a permanent residency. So, and then that's a game changer. And I made another live stream about it some time ago and plenty of other videos. It's one of the most viral videos I have on TikTok. There's like viral, I mean, for me, it has like 20,000 views, the permanent residency. So it has many advantages, including like free access to the labor market, free access to the public healthcare, easier moving within the EU, and many other. So if you've been living here constantly for 5 years, you can apply for the permanent residency. That's not exactly connected to the employment contract, because the employee card, for example, or blue card, you can get the first employee card or blue card for 2 years, even if you have the contract only for 2 years. What you just need to do at the end of the period is that you get an addendum to the contract and you extend it for another 2 years. We do it with some of our corporate clients as well, because we at Move to Karakar are hired not only by private people like you watching me right now, but also by companies. And we help companies like with the paperwork related to foreign employees. So we also prepare employment contract for some of our clients, and we often do it the way that they like get an employment contract for 2 years, and then you extend it for another 2 years, and then you get the indefinite period. So you can do it this way as well. Can you please give the link of your social media? Yeah, I will post it. I'm trying to think if I can post it here right now. I probably could, but I will post it once I finish the live stream. I will put it into the comments. Okay, bangurs, bangurs. I will put there my TikTok and my Instagram as well. And also, if you go to the description of the group where you're watching right now, the expats in CZE help and support group, then I have the description of why I established the group, all this, and I believe I have all the links there. But I will share it here as well. And also, guys, if you know Patreon, I'm on Patreon as well, where you can support me like on monthly basis with some small amount of money, and you on exchange or in exchange you will get a special content. For example, on Patreon, I do a live stream live Q&As where you can ask me directly, like one-on-one, every month, only for Patreons, only for people who follow me on Patreon. Okay, Ray, okay, thank you again, Sir Jan, for the info. I will look into it on your TikTok. Thank you so much for your help. My pleasure. Okay, so you were asking about the permanent residency, so I'll share the link to the viral video I made, and you will get all the information there. Okay, guys, it's 22 minutes 22 seconds, which is, I believe, a nice time to end the live stream. So thank you very much for joining at this late hour, and stay with me for like five more minutes, especially you, Ray, or also Bangurs. I will share the links to all my other social media in the comments. So please stick with me, even add me as a friend or join the group if you're not part of the group yet, and I will share everything there. And see you again on Thursday. Thank you, guys. Good night. Bye-bye.